Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm reviewing LEGO Disney set number 43179, Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse buildable characters. This set has 1,739 pieces. It's for ages 18 plus, and it retails for $180 in the US. This was released in 2020, and these things are kind of creepy. Basically, the only reason I bought them is because I just thought that this was such a weird little set with a lot of really interesting parts. We do have some buildable objects that accompany the characters. Over here on the right, we've got this little photo album, which I think is just a fantastic build. I really love the little heart tiles on the corner. These are the only stickers in the set that are on this photo album. You've got a couple on the front, and then there are a couple on the inside. This is supposed to make it look like it's shut. That doesn't work. I mean, obviously it doesn't actually like lock it or anything, but that looks pretty good. And then on the inside, you do have a couple of these black and white photos of Mickey and Minnie. I think that that's adorable. This set is like an homage to, the original like Mickey and Minnie from like the 40s, or sorry, not the 40s, like the 30s cartoons. I don't know how old Mickey Mouse is, but I mean, this is a pretty nice photo album. Over here, we've got the camera that presumably the photos were taken with, and you can immediately see why I hate this thing. I think it's a terrible build. The actual camera itself is really cool, and it includes these new, or at least they were new in 2020, like kind of corner, like curved pieces that are super, super interesting. And so I really like that camera build, but the tripod is horrible. The way it's built does not seem to like be in the LEGO system at all. You can see you've got these like clip pieces holding onto a wheel, but they don't connect all the way. And then they're like pulling this 1x3 inverted tile like out of the leg. So yeah, it's really weak, and I don't think it works that well. You can rotate the camera though, but again, this thing just breaks so easily. I really hate it. I was just waiting to review this set so that I can like take this apart and dump it in my parts bin, because I really don't like the way it works. So as I said already, these characters are very interesting. LEGO's been experimenting with like buildable display objects like this for a little while now. We've had stuff like the brick heads, then we've got this Mickey and Minnie set, then we also have like the Harry Potter and Hermione Granger like buildable minifigures from 2021. I have mixed feelings on this because I think that it's really cool in certain respects, and then it's also just kind of creepy and weird in other respects. I love the bases that these figures are built on. I think that they're super interesting because they look like old-timey, like film strip. You've got huge printed tiles with like the signature of the character, which I love. I think that that's such a nice touch. And then the actual like film strip bit, this is all just kind of pasted onto the side. But this was one of the first sets to have like that new satiny color. So LEGO calls this opalescent brown. I guess it's supposed to be like satin, kind of like trans black, but it really ends up being more like bluish, like purplish. But it's just a really interesting color, and I just think that the way that these bases are designed are really creative. Although both of the figures, they are like connected to the base. You can't remove them easily. They're built straight into it. The shaping of the shoes on Mickey, I think, is done very well. Like, these look like his large, like, rounded shoes. I also love the way his legs are built, because this side just uses plain old cylinder bricks, but this side is actually the set that introduced, like, this is the build that introduced these newer Technic tube pieces. That is wonderful. It gives him a really like jaunty pose, and it makes it actually look like he's moving. It's a very dynamic pose, which I like quite a bit. I also love the way that his pants are built, because they have these newer, larger dome pieces, and then they're also using just like minifigure buckets in red as the pant legs. And again, I just find that to be really clever parts usage, and that's kind of the defining feature of this whole set. Like, the whole set just has really, really clever parts usage. The body is definitely less interesting. These things actually went together a lot faster than I expected. I built this set like about a month ago, but it's what you would expect. There's just a bunch of like outward facing studs, and you just build this assembly separately and then put it on. What surprised me was like the lack of articulation in the arms. You'll notice that you can't move them at all, even though they have these same tube pieces that make it actually look articulated. The only thing you can move on these figures are their hands at the wrist and then their thumbs. Everything else is static. That did shock me. Didn't mean to break that off, but that is another one of the buildable objects. It's a little guitar for Mickey, and this is definitely my favorite of the buildable objects. But it did surprise me that you can't move the arms at all. And even the fingers, like the fingers are static. I think that's okay. Like they look really good. They're very well shapen. But it just makes it a little bit strange because as you could see, when Mickey is like holding his guitar, he can only hold it like palm up like that. Like that is super weird. Like you can't ever position it like he's playing the guitar. Although you can just pop the arms out, and then if you just like rearrange the tubes, you can get some different looks out of like the arms that way. But I honestly just expected them to have some posability. You do get some posability around the back though, because you've got this little like mouse tail, I almost said rat tail, but that can actually be moved around in a couple of different ways. So that's like, you know, that's what I would have expected from like the entire build, except the legs. And then lastly, the head. The head is just like this gargantuan thing that's just placed into the neck. And this is another area of great parts usage. That is a black barrel, like just a regular minifigure barrel. Those hadn't come in a set. Before 2020, those hadn't been seen in a set since like the early 2000s or the late 90s. So that's another great piece to find in this set. Another great piece found on the head is that classic space helmet in black. This is the newer style of classic space helmet. I believe this is the only set that it appears in black. So that's really awesome. And again, it's just great parts usage. I love the way that the mouth is built as well. You use like this wheel arch, and then there's like this kind of car hood piece. However, you can move like this nose down super easily, and then that makes like just the face look really, really creepy. So I wish that there was a way to actually keep that like kind of at that slanted upward position. The other piece that I really wanted to see in this set was the piece that makes up the eyes. This is a mold that was designed just for this Mickey and Minnie set. And yeah, I am going to tear apart his face here. But you can only find it in this set. It's like this huge, like kind of semicircular dome. And it's dual molded on the inside. This piece is just so intricate and it's so crazy to me. I really want to see it used elsewhere. But this is literally the only set that it's come in, and it's been over a year since the set was released now, so I don't know if we're ever going to see it in another one. Again, the shaping around the back of the head is done very well. You've got the regular like 3x3 domes, and then I think that these are the 4x4 ones, and then you do have the ears, which can be adjusted. I think they're a little bit large for the figure, and I would have kind of preferred if they were completely tiled, since studs aren't really showing on the rest of this build. But they still look pretty good overall, and at least you can kind of try to change the poses, although again, the head doesn't move at all. Minnie is pretty much the same as Mickey, except, you know, she's got a dress, she has a hat on her head. But let's start down at the base again, because I do not like the way that her legs were built in comparison to Mickey's. You've got a very nice signature for her on the base, but I don't like the shaping of the feet. I feel like these don't really look like great approximations of heels. They seem way too chunky to me. They aren't anywhere near as like polished, I think, as Mickey's. I also kind of would have preferred if it was tiled over right in front. Maybe it's just like the front that I don't like. I also do not love this white part sticking out. I know that Mickey had one as well, but I feel like that was hidden better. Like Mickey's base, to me, it doesn't really look like he's stepping on that piece. I feel like it's hidden away fairly well, but Minnie, like, it really looks like she's just stepping on like a piece of like white something that's like coming up from her minifigure base. Her legs are also completely just like completely made using these cylinder pieces and then tubes, and so you can see that they do actually kind of flex a bit, and that does not feel good to me at all. As I was building Minnie, I noticed this, but if you just like push down on her right side, it's like she's throwing her hip out, and again, that's like, it's way too wobbly for me. I feel like this set should not be this wobbly. And again, it's not like it's about to break. At least I hope not, maybe a little bit, but it's just, it's not a good feeling. Like, you don't want to have that much wobble in something like this. It feels like it's about to come down at any second. Her dress is interestingly built out of these large, like a trapezoidal windshield pieces from like Lego City that are printed with these white dots, and then they're supplemented by these smaller wedge pieces. That looks good. I'm glad they're printed, but obviously the opacity of the white is not the same as the plastic. It's a little bit washed out. That is an infuriating issue. You can see that she does have a little rat tail or mouse tail behind her as well. And she's got the exact same build for the hands and arms as Mickey, although instead of a guitar, she is holding this little bouquet of flowers, and I think that that looks great. I think this flower piece originated from Trolls, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, it's still an interesting piece for this set. Minnie's head is quite similar to Mickey's, except you can see that she does have a different print because she's got the eyelashes. She's also using a different wheel arch for the mouth. This is one that's only like 2x4 instead of like whatever, like 1x6. So I do like that difference in the mouth builds. Up top, she does have that little hat with a flower in it. I do like the way that that's placed. It's just on a couple of stamp pieces. And again, it has one of those Trolls, I think, flower parts. But that's pretty easy to put on, and it does sit at a nice angle. It looks suitably, you know, like askew on her head. Here are the extra pieces. Naturally, we have one of these 18+ boxes. I love the art of like the vintage Mickey off to the left. I don't think this box art, actually I'm kind of conflicted on the box art, so I feel like the 18+ branding really works for some sets and then it really doesn't work for others. I'm torn on this one because I feel like they would look nicer on like a Walt Disney World background, but then they also kind of look fine on the black because they are just display pieces after all. My box is a little bit banged up because I did buy this set off of eBay. I was not about to pay retail price, so luckily I found a good deal on it. The instruction manuals, they're actually kind of nice because it splits, you know, the set into Mickey and then Minnie and the accessories. So this was honestly the first Lego set that I would have liked to build with someone else. I am not a person that enjoys building Lego with other people. I also love how the back of the instruction manual shows the back of the set. I'm not someone that likes building Lego with other people because it's like, it's my Lego, don't touch it. But this was the first set where it's like, because they're such similar builds and they come with 2 separate instruction manuals, I feel like it would have been a great experience to build with like a friend or a family member. This set is really weird. That's the only way to describe it. Like, Lego's never done a build like this before. I kind of feel like they're never going to do it again. I don't know why they made this set. Like, I know that there are Disney adults out there that really love Disney, but like, these things are kind of creepy. They're cool, but they're also kind of creepy. I think that they were a very interesting build, again, with a lot of really cool pieces, which is why I bought it. I was really on the fence about it, but I would definitely not recommend paying retail price. Do not pay $180 for this. That is absolutely freaking ridiculous. At most, this should be a $150 set, but honestly, I think that this would be a lot better at $130 or $140. Like, $120 feels a little bit low compared to stuff like the Buildable Harry and Hermione figures. But yeah, overall, I'm not super happy with the builds because they do feel really weak. They're quite wobbly and they're just strange. Like, they don't fit with anything else in Lego. And then I do not like the accessory builds, like that camera. Mickey and Minnie feel weak, but they aren't going to break. The camera feels weak and it does break. And that bothers me because I thought that an accessory like that would be a lot stronger considering that it has to stand up on its own 3 legs. So that basically sums up my opinion on this. I got this set for $100 on eBay, and that was a fantastic deal, but $180 is a total ripoff. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com, and I'll see you guys in more videos soon. Bye for now.